We'd have practice like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then we'd have like 3 workouts throughout the week, like early in the week. So Monday through Thursday, we'd have we'd have workouts, and then we'd practice at the end of the week. So it was like weird. It was a lot different than it would be in a regular season, like with no
Yeah.
Corona, obviously.
Are you guys gonna play games or no?
In the spring, we're gonna play. There's a group of teams. I think we're gonna. I mean, it's like 99%. Like our coach said, like we're looking good, but
Oh,
we have
yeah.
a group of. I think it's like normally we have 9 teams in our conference, and I think we have a group of 5 or 6 teams that are good to go to play. So
And you usually
That's
play in the
solid.
fall though, right?
exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Usually we play late September through mid-November. But yeah,
Yeah.
Nice. Good stuff.
Oh, well, at least you guys are going to get games. And how's everything else? How's Trinity?
dude, it's awesome. I love it so much, dude. Like
Yeah?
it's so. I've like the people I've met there, dude. Like you can't even compare like the people I met there versus like, at MX. Like Joe, I had like fucking 2 friends, dude. Like it was
Yeah.
really like really only people I talked to. It's like everyone at Trinity, dude. It's just like they're the best people. Like culturally, it's the best fit. Like the school's like over half the school. I'm pretty sure is like
Yeah.
athletes.
Hey, Dylan, did I tell you he's in G's class?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a prime example. Jerry loves
Yeah,
it there too. Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love G. And whenever I talk to him, he has nothing but good things to say about Trinity.
He's the guy, dude. He's like he's one of my boys, dude. He's the man.
That's
Yeah, and
crazy.
same with
what a small world.
Yeah, no kidding. Michael Naiman, I played with him in Wizards. I think he's a senior now. He's a 97.
Oh, he's
Um,
yeah.
Or no, he'd be a junior now. Same thing, just loves it. Cooper and I went and saw him last year at the start of the year, right before the showcase, Joe. And yeah,
Yeah.
he loves it.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, don't have enough good things to say, man. The people are it's the best people. Like literally, it's so awesome, dude. Love
I
it.
hope I have the same experience next year. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, no kidding.
How's
Hey,
that going for you guys?
Dylan, the LIU commit.
Yeah, dude, I'm pumped, dude. That's so awesome
Yeah.
for you.
I know, I'm excited. So yeah,
Unbelievable.
it happened fast, but I can't wait. It's gonna be good.
Happened fast. Definitely didn't happen fast. This has been
Well,
like 20 year long.
The commitment. Okay, yeah. Let me rephrase that. The goal and trying to get a commit has been painfully long, but how fast it happened with LIU. I talked to their assistant coach for the first time. It was a Sunday night.
It felt like it
Talked
was
to the
within
head
a
coach.
week, right? Within a week.
Yeah, it was
had to
within
be.
a week.
Yeah.
Like the recruiting process has been painfully long, but literally talked to
Yeah.
the assistant coach, Will Mesa, Sunday night. Talked to Brett Riley, the head coach, Monday, and then Wednesday I committed. And it was just like, holy shit! It just happened fast, but
Probably makes up for
right
all the
fit.
other ones that you've had.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Fucking-
It's crazy.
But it'll be good. I'm pumped. I couldn't be more happy.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Good stuff, man. Proud of you.
Thank you.
All right, let's talk a little bit about Austin Berg because it's kind of no warm up for the podcast, right? First episode back, and we got this guy. So, from what I've seen, he's an absolute savage. He's 24 years old, and he's chasing down the Olympia, like that young. Like he's got probably a good. Me and Dylan were talking about this earlier. 15 years left at least of solid bodybuilding years, and I think he could definitely win it someday just by looking at him and like his posing. I watched a few videos of him up on stage, and he's just so like fluid, and he's huge. It's massive.
Yeah, he is freaking massive. And I was looking
symmetrical
to,
and everything.
yeah, at some of his older posts, and he was still shredded. I think, what was it? Was it for Universe? He stepped on stage. It was the morning of in his hotel, and yeah, he's added 22 pounds of muscle since then. Like he's just a monster.
It's crazy, yeah. I know. And I put that video together that I posted a few days ago, and like you can just tell that like he's just so tunnel vision, zoned in on his goals, and I can't wait to hear like what he has to say. I know when we were talking, he said that he placed one spot out of getting his pro card. I don't know how long ago this was, but the following year he ended up getting his pro card. So like I'm gonna ask him about what was his new mindset for the next 365 days, and it's going to be interesting to hear because everybody's got their own story. So I'm definitely excited about that.
Yeah, talk about starting season 2 off with a bang for sure. I'm sure we're a
Yeah.
little rusty, a couple months off with all of us, heading to school and getting in season. So this is a good way to get back at it. And this will be a good one. But yeah, there'll be he'll have lots of good stuff to say, and I'm excited.
Yeah, definitely. Colin, what do you think?
I'm really pumped up. I mean, for a lot of bodybuilders, obviously the journey is a lot different for a lot of guys. One guy that I know who works out at my gym in Woburn, Abner, he was a football player through and through, played at Maryland, then transferred to UAlbany. It was a fullback on the Bills, and he didn't even know he wanted to get into bodybuilding. I mean, the guy's been a genetic freak, forever. But he had his mindset, heart set on football, and he had no idea he wanted to get into bodybuilding. And then all of a sudden he just got into it. Like he went from being like a financial liaison and like a celebrity trainer to all of a sudden getting into it. And he's pretty similar to Austin in the sense he's an IFBB pro. And so I think for Austin, just figuring out sort of how he got into it and how long he's been committed to it.
Yeah.
I'm interested in that sense into how he got into it and also, where he wants to go from here. But I mean, the kid is an absolute stud. I mean, you look at his physique, like you guys were talking about his movement on the stage. There's so many small nuances to this sport that like people don't even talk about or think about.
And that we don't even know of either. Like it's all the little things in that sport. It's like when you look at them all, like if you're just an outsider looking in and you see them all up on stage, I mean, there's not many things from, the average human eye that is like, he's a clear winner. You know what I mean? Like there's just these slight nuances that the judges have and that we don't really know about. And I think the biggest one is definitely the symmetry. Like you see that a lot in the open where guys just don't have the symmetry, like their legs are too small or it's a clear the clear winners all have the symmetry, so their legs match their upper body and so on. But that's interesting you said about that guy, Colin, at the gym you train at in Woburn, where he played football and then he went into bodybuilding afterwards. It's like it's one of those sports where you can kind of pick it up later on because your body's still developing. Like your testosterone doesn't hit its peak until a certain point, and especially most of the guys, they have performance-enhancing drugs and all that stuff. But Dylan, what were you gonna say?
No, that's the thing about bodybuilding. That's what's neat. It's something you can pick up later on because it takes time. Like you look at, look at the NHL, for example. Obviously, that's the easy one for us to look at. The average age in the NHL is what now? Like 25, 26?
Ridiculous,
I think you peak at 28 maybe. I think that's when they count as your peak age in the NHL now. I think is right around 28. But yeah, look at Phil Heath. Phil Heath, 7-time Mr. Olympia, one of the greatest bodybuilders of all time. He went to DU, Denver University, as a basketball player. He was, what was he, a point guard? And he played all 4 years and then got into bodybuilding after college. Like kind of very similar story.
Now that's crazy because you don't see a lot of big guys in basketball. Like I can see football, but that's a whole different story.
And it's not like he's a monster in the height department to be playing basketball. He's like 5'9", and then goes on to be one of the greatest. He's the second most winningest bodybuilder of all time on the Olympia stage. Like it's crazy. And that's something he picked up after playing D1 basketball at DU.
And I think that's what makes the bodybuilders more successful too, is when they have experience in other fields. So going back to what you were saying, but what's that guy's name, Colin? Abner. So he probably got the discipline, he got the work ethic from playing at a high level in football. Like he played D1, right? You said?
Yeah. Oh yeah. He played at Maryland.
So he played D1. Like obviously everybody knows it takes a lot to be a D1 athlete, and just kind of transferring that, all the contributors to getting to that point, like to benefit for starting a bodybuilding career. It's like a whole new life that you have for yourself. It's like, once you're done with your sport, right, you can get into media and all this stuff, but it's never really the same. But there's very few sports where you can pick up later on in your life. One of them is bodybuilding, and I can't even really think of another. Maybe like golf. Golf you can play until you're like 65, but you're not. I can tell you something right now. You're not going to be boxing when you're like 55 years old at a high performance rate. So
right,
yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
What do you say?
Yeah.
I said, unless your name's Mike Tyson.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true.
Well, how old was he when he did that fight? Just a couple weeks ago. 54? What is he?
Yeah. I think he was like early 50s. Like right around that.
He still looked good. I mean, he kicked the shit out of any of us.
Crazy.
Dude, I've seen a few videos of him speaking of Tyson, like when he first started training for the fight, and I was like, oh my God, I can't even imagine being in the ring with that guy. He's just he's not even human. Not even
Iron
human.
Mike.
Yeah. Oh
It's
my
crazy.
God. Some of the quotes that you hear from that guy, like in interviews and stuff like that. The best one, he goes, I broke my back. The guy's like,
Yeah.
what?
I've said, and the reporter's like, can you elaborate on that? He's like, spinal.
Oh
What a
my
guy.
God, yeah. Yeah.
But
Oh
going
God.
back to your point, Joey, like I think that goes to show why it pays off to be a well-rounded athlete and the benefits of being an athlete. You know, so many of those skills are transferable to other sports, you know, and bodybuilding too. Like you said, that taught him his sport, taught him the discipline, you know, exactly the work ethic, and that led to him having a successful bodybuilding career.
Yep. And talk about discipline. Like bodybuilding is it. That is discipline. Like
Yeah,
the food,
24
the
hours a day.
training. I mean, even like Michael Hearn says it best, it's all about the consistency. Like
Mm-hmm.
the reason why he's so strong and so fit, being his weight, that's just decades of training. Like nobody's gonna look like that in a few years. It just doesn't happen unless you're taking drugs. But
And you
even
see, like,
then, it's still hard.
Yeah, for sure. And even on the Machiavelli page, whenever they post about Michael Hearn, it's like Michael Hearn hasn't missed a meal in 40 years. He hasn't missed a workout in 40 years. Like, it's just crazy. He's been doing it for 4 decades, even longer than that. And yeah, it goes to show why he looks like that and performs like that.
I know. Although, like, people don't even realize it. It's there's days where, I mean, especially as clean eaters, like Dylan, we're clean eaters. Colin, I don't really know what your diet looks like. I'm sure it's good, but there's times where you just want to just feast on something that you know you shouldn't be eating. But it's like there's a side of you that wants to, you know, this food, this healthy food, this clean meal is gonna help you going forward. It's gonna help you for your recovery. Like those are all things that count. And doing it day in and day out, like exponential results in the long run. So, but yeah, so real quick, I want to give an update to the listeners on some products that just finished production. So the basic hoodie and the Valiant hoodie, they finished production and they're on their way to me. So I'll ship them out hopefully within this month. The shipping's been a nightmare coming from manufacturers, and then also the new Rebirth sleeveless hoodie. So we did that poll for the 24 hours on Instagram, and the maroon one won. Yeah. So that was Dylan's vote. I'll probably end up releasing the other one too eventually. But yeah, so that it's in the design phase and the production will start in a couple of weeks. And yeah, really excited about that. So we'll start promoting that. And hopefully we can get a few products over to Austin. That'd be huge to have him on the team. So.
And what's the latest on the blender bottles, Joe? Where are those at?
Yeah, so that's one of the manufacturers that shut down during COVID. They had to pretty much restart everything and all their production techniques. And so those will hopefully be in within the month as well. They've been in production for a while. So it's one of those things where it's a hit or miss, like depends who you're working with. And kind of a bummer that it's taken so long, but it's still in the pre-order phase. So hopefully we'll have them in soon. And,
I need mine in. I keep using this broken one. So
yeah, I know. That's another thing. Maybe we should come up with a design for a new blender bottle that just doesn't break. I was telling Dylan the other day, I got like 20 bottles in my house and maybe like 5 caps, if that. They all just snap. So, but yeah. And then another update: the affiliate program is going unreal. I got 35, 40 members now. And for people who don't know what it is, pretty much you get a 25% commission on any referral sales you make. All you have to do is sign up on the website. You get approval or disapproval within 24 hours. And you also get a 20% off all merchandise code for yourself, 10% off for followers, friends, and family. And you get put into our affiliate group chat on Slack, which pretty much it's all the need to know stuff as an affiliate, how to make sales, how to get the word out more about the brand, and ultimately make yourself commission sales. So let me know, reach out. We'll leave a link below. and let us know if you have any questions, and we'll be happy to help. So now to the intro. We've already done a little intro on the guest, but he's an unbelievable guest. IFBB Pro Bodybuilder Austin Burge. He's already faced a lot of adversity, as we said. Not getting his pro card that year that he placed one place out and came back the next year and he got it. So we're excited to hear about that. He's a beast, great person from what I've talked to him so far. He's got a very bright future in bodybuilding. Without further ado, here's Austin Burge. How's it going, man?
What's going on, guys?
Nothing much. How was your holidays?
Pretty good. Spent time with family and a girlfriend, so it was great. How about y'all's?
Good, really good stuff. We've been waiting, looking forward to this episode, so we're really psyched. We've been off from season 1 for about a couple months now, so it's the first
time
one
to
back.
Get back.
So yeah, time to get back to it.
Awesome, I love it. I love the format. Love everything. This is
yeah,
great.
yeah, good stuff. So how's training been? First off, I want to talk to you about COVID. We even back in season 1, we were talking to all our guests about it and how it affected them. So during COVID, what was going on? Like, were you training in the gyms? Were you training at home? How did it affect you?
So COVID, honestly, as bad as this sounds, it kind of helped me out a little bit because I was in the fire academy at the time, and every morning we would first thing in the morning we get there like at 5 a.m. They would have us run 2 miles, which honestly doesn't really help trying to build muscle. You got to pack on more calories and all that. So COVID kind of stopped the fire academy. We did everything, the rest from home. So I was able to grow more, I guess. And then the gyms did shut down, which was kind of a struggle for about a week, but I did had like a friend that owned a gym that kind of kept it open on the down low. So that definitely helped out big time. So it was great. Just with everything, because at that point of COVID, like everything was shut down. So all I was really doing was working. Not work. I was working, but doing school from home. So just eating, resting, and training. So it really just helped me out a lot as far as bodybuilding.
Yeah. So how old are you? You're 24 now?
25.
25. Okay.
In May. So.
Got you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's good stuff. So when was your last event that you had? Since all this
I did the NPC Universe, and it was supposed to be in New Jersey, but it got moved to Charleston, which is a pro qualifier. And yeah, we ended up getting second to Colin von Moger, which was wild.
That's crazy.
I'll take it.
Yeah,
no
definitely.
kidding.
Up to go pro there, so it was a great experience for sure.
Right on. So, and by the way, I'm Dylan, and that's
I'm
Colin
Joe.
down there. So,
Colin.
yeah, just so we're clear, I was gonna say something before Joe, but you were right into it. But
yeah, sorry, I was a little fired up, too fired
he's
up.
antsy. That's all right. So, that was kind of where we wanted to start was COVID, and then actually I want to go back a little more. So, obviously, you're a pro bodybuilder now. At what point did you know that this is what you wanted to do? You wanted to be a professional bodybuilder, and kind of how'd you get into it? I mean, every kid starts working out, or most kids start working out when you're 13, 14, just going to the gym kind of thing. And when did you kind of take it seriously and decide that this is what you wanted to do?
Yeah, so that story is kind of crazy actually. I started training when I was a freshman year in high school. And it was my goals and reasons for training kind of just changed over time. I was a freshman just trying to honestly impress girls. So I would just go to the gym every day, just train, because I was a skinny kid in high school. I was same height, I was like 6'3" and probably like 170 at the time or something like that. And I wanted to train, get girls, and then I was playing basketball at the time also throughout high school. So and over time, I kind of fell in love. I kind of drifted away from basketball and kind of fell in love more with training. I love the training aspect of it because the more like the more I could practice all day and in the gym for basketball, but that wouldn't necessarily lead to a win in that, because for one, it's a team sport, and I just loved how like I could, like, if I trained every single day, got my meals right, I'm gonna benefit from it. It's no ifs, ands, or buts. You're going to improve, and eventually kind of just became like, oh, I just love this for me. Like, this is amazing. I just feel better. My confidence, of course, your confidence goes up whenever you train. You start seeing results. And then college hit. Pretty much that's all I did. I just went to class and trained. And then I got kind of tired of it. Got kind of bored, as I was happy. I was satisfied with the way I looked, but I didn't know what else. Like, where else to go from here? I was like, okay, I've been doing this for probably like 4 or 5 years now. Pretty happy with the size I'm at. And then my friend approached me and was like, you should try doing men's physique. And I love that because it kind of like fueled my fire again. I'm very competitive. So it kind of gave me a reason to keep training and keep going after it. And at the time, there was no classic physique division. There was just men's physique. And I was never a big fan of like, I'm a fan of bodybuilding, but I never really wanted to get that big. Just for health reasons, and I want to be active and
athletic
like
still.
Yeah, athletic still. I still love playing basketball today. So
For sure.
I never really wanted to do open bodybuilding. So men's physique was like, okay, it's awesome. They look great. They're shredded. They're lean. Let's do this. And just then I did my first show, prep by myself. I didn't have a coach. And ended up taking like 4th place in the team category, but that show had like 35 teams in it, which was crazy.
So how old were you then?
I was 19. I was 19.
19.
At that time.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. At that point, I was 19, and then I was like, oh, I loved it. I just fell in love with the sport. Loved knowing that like I'm in the gym and there's someone out there doing the exact same thing as me, trying to beat me on that day we step on stage. So it was just awesome to just kept me motivated, and especially placing like that at a show like that, thinking, oh, okay, maybe I might be able to do something with this. It's something I love doing. I'm very competitive, so it's like just hits all aspects of it, and just each placing's gotten a little better, and just want to see how far I can take it now.
So now, when did you get your pro card?
I got it November 14th this year.
Gotcha. Yeah. So now we were talking on for Dylan and Colin. You guys don't really know, but I was talking to you on Instagram, and you said that the year before you were 1 place out from getting it. So
right.
Walk us through that. Talk about that a little bit. What was the adversity that you faced? Like when that happened, what was your mindset going forward for the next 365 days?
All right. So last year I did a show, North American, which was also a pro qualifier. And we prepped for that show. I got sick 12 weeks out. We faced a lot of adversity going into it. I had a sponsor at the time that kind of didn't fulfill his promises through the contract, and it was just basically he's supposed to cover my flight, which I'm totally cool paying for my own flight, but it sucked because when you wait last minute for a flight, they can definitely go up. And he just kept saying, I'm gonna get it, and he never got it. So just a lot. We ended up getting there late, which that week, which sucked just because we wanted to land early and check in early. That way we can start eating more food, because you don't want to eat a lot of food and not end up. I was right at that weight cap, so if I wanted to make sure I starved myself and checked in, and then able to fill out throughout the rest of the week. That way I can come in looking on point. So that didn't happen. So just a lot of adversity. And then, I ended up, that was my the previous national show I did the year before, I got 13th. So that was my first national show. I came off 2 local show wins and wanted to see what happened, and then I just got like, oh wow, these guys are real. These guys are real at this level. So I got 13th, and in that year, I ended up going to North Americans all the adversity that hit us. And then they put me in the first call outs, and I was like, okay, we're in this. We're top 5, and you want to be as close to the middle as possible. Middle's first place. The 2 on the side are second and third, and top 2 go pro. So I was next to the middle. So I was like, okay, we're in this. They're looking at me right now. Like, this is, in my head, I was already happy because I last year got 13th. I was nowhere near close to going pro. So I was okay, like, they're looking at us, and then they moved us around a little bit. And then the night show came, which is basically after the morning show, they already have their results. They already know who's placing where. So the night show came along. That's when they tell you what place you got and all that. So I was hearing my number called. I was hearing all the numbers being called. We were all standing there, like, in 5th place, this number, 4th place, this number. And then I was like, oh, don't say my name, because top 2 go pro. And they're like in 3rd place. And then they said my name, and I was like, oh, it's bittersweet because I knew I faced a lot. And it was just right there. And immediately after I got off stage, I was like, when's the next one? I was like, I wanted to hurry up and get back on it. But at the same time, I was prepping like all year for that show. So I was just tired of, and the next show was like 12 weeks away. So I was like, oh, I don't want to sit and diet just for another opportunity for 12 weeks. I was like, let me just go into the off season and then put on size and just make it a lock next year. Let's just guarantee the pro card. And yeah, but as soon as I got off stage, I was like, I think I have to wait a whole year to get back on here.
Yeah.
Wait a whole year to get another shot at this. So basically, just put the work in, and then this last show, most recent show came around, and then Calvin Von Moger showed up like 2 weeks out. I think he didn't tell many people, and I was just like, okay, this is gonna be. I was actually excited for it because I knew Callum's a big time dude. If you're able to compete or even beat him like that, that would be amazing. Plus, I didn't look up to him, but I mean, I watched his YouTube videos when I was 19. He's one of the guys that kind of like inspired me to get into it. I would Google YouTube his arm workouts and all that. Like,
Yeah. Well, you see him on Machiavelli Motivation on Instagram.
Yeah,
like, you'll see his videos. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So speaking of that, what bodybuilders did you look up to? Like, when you first got into it, like, who was your go-to guy where you're like, okay, I'm gonna do this? Did you like tailor your workouts after any bodybuilders, or just kind of do your own thing?
That's tough. I'd say I lean towards more doing my own thing. I definitely YouTubed workouts when I was younger, just because I didn't really know too much about training or anything like that, and I would YouTube and just pretty much whatever guy popped up, I would just, let me just jot this workout down and copy it down. I didn't really, honestly, when I got into bodybuilding, I didn't know too much about the sport or like the history of it. I knew Arnold had competed, but I didn't know like the old school guys like Frank Zane and all that. I think over time, like once I got to like age 22, 23, I was like then starting to get familiar with classic old school bodybuilding, then YouTubing posing routines and learning about the sport, and and just kind of just taking notes from a little bit of everything, like all the old school bodybuilders, Frank Zane, and then like in the 90s bodybuilders, Dorian Yates, and just trying to take a little bit from everybody and emulate it to whatever works for me.
Yeah, for sure. No.
I had one question just about your preparation. You mentioned earlier, you were talking about like your off season. And so I found this really interesting. How does your preparation differ from how far you are out from an event? So let's say you're 15 weeks out versus you talked about how you got sick 12 weeks out.
Right.
So how does your preparation change in terms of how far out you are from an event? How do you sort of prepare yourself leading up to an event?
Okay, so yeah, basically like if I'm like 15 weeks out, me and my coach, we like to start. I prefer to start prep, like have a long prep, like 22-week prep, and just because the first 5 weeks, I think the hardest thing about prep is getting started, getting into it, building that routine. Like you'll go from like an off season to doing very little cardio, and then you'll start your cardio, and you're like, okay, 20 weeks out, I'm doing 20 minutes of cardio, and you're like huffing and puffing. I'm like, oh, this sucks. This is terrible. Like doing it, like starting to build a routine of it, it's terrible. And like the last week of prep, or like the last 2 weeks of prep, you're doing an hour of cardio, like high intensity, and you're like, oh, this is just another day, you know. But it's just building that routine, getting into it. So I mean, I like starting my preps or having a long preps, and then of course as the prep goes on, the food slowly gets cut out. I'll have a couple refeeds whenever it's needed, but once it hits like 8 weeks out, I say that's when it's like, all right, tunnel vision, you got to lock in. I'll never cheat on a diet unless my coach tells me, but definitely like the first like 20 weeks out to 15 weeks out, I guess like I'm a little bit more flexible. I can get away with some things, but I'm definitely not cheating on my diet. But like once it hits like 15 weeks out, things get serious, and then 6 weeks out, it's tunnel vision. It's like I'm not going out. I'm not doing anything that can interfere with prep.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
And
so
we were talking in the sorry, Joe. We were talking in the intro there too, just like what a tunnel vision bodybuilding is. It's got to be the most disciplined sport out there. You know, you can't get away with anything. It's a 24-hour job, and you know, it kind of never ends. So yeah, we were just discussing that in the intro topic. So it's good you said that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's I mean, it's real easy if you're mostly introvert. You know, you don't really go out anyways. You're just doing what you love, training and dieting, and then of course seeing results helps too. But yeah, absolutely. It's like straight. You can't do a lot of things. You gotta hang up those phone calls when your friends are trying to go out and do all that stuff. Definitely, it's a lifestyle.
Yeah, definitely. So I want to go back a few steps. You were talking about the different phases: 22 weeks out, 15 weeks out, 8 weeks out. And me and Dylan actually talked a lot about this. And calorie intake is a very, for most people, it's a very uneducated area where they don't know what it takes to get to the point where they want to be, whether they're trying to gain weight or lose weight. So I'm just curious to hear, like, what were you intaking every day at 22 weeks out, like 8 weeks out? Where were you at?
So 22 weeks out, I was probably eating around like 8 ounces of protein, 6 meals a day. I was probably around 300 grams of rice, probably 4 out of the 6 meals. I think the last meal was a shake, which was just like 2 scoops of whey and a banana. And in the morning was just a cup of oats, 4 ounces of eggs, 4 ounces of egg whites, 2 eggs. It's crazy. I still remember this. I have no idea. And English muffin. That was like pretty much the first. And I think I had like some avocados in there too, like 2 avocados a day. And then like 2 weeks out, it's pretty much like dropped. It's probably 8 ounces of protein, maybe 2 meals, if any, have like 100 grams of rice. And then, yeah, it's basically just the carbs are just all gone and everything else is kept. I also cut out artificial flavors like 6 weeks out, which honestly, like this, I think this is the first year I cut out all artificial flavors that far out, just to see how my body responds. And you really don't know how awesome artificial flavors are until they're gone. Like gum, because gum would get me through like there's things that will help get you through a diet, like sugar-free, ketchup, gum, Coke Zero, like stuff like that. It just all, or even like Bang energy drinks, like stuff like that. When you're low on energy and you Bangs come clutch. I love Bangs on prep. Like 12 weeks out, I'll be tired, exhausted. I'll just drink one of those and just feel great. But yeah, we cut out all those like 5 weeks out, and yeah, it was brutal. But
yeah, so now these are the little nuances that we were talking about in the intro, where when you're up on stage and you're posing next to those guys, from the average eye, you're looking there and probably there's not much differentiation from just the normal eye, but it's all the things that happen behind the scenes, like these little things like the ketchup, the gum, like it's things like that pay off in the end.
Right,
So it's
absolutely.
like it's crazy. It's crazy.
Right, yeah. You never, and it's crazy. Like the smallest detail of conditioning can like just win you a show. You have no idea, and that's the thing. Like if I'm sitting at home and I'm like, okay, I'm cut. You know what? I'm gonna cut this out because I bet this other competitor's not doing it. You know, I'm doing whatever it takes just to have the upper hand. You know, if I can come in tighter than someone else, and this is the way to do it. This is the sacrifice I have to make. I've got to do it. You know.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so going back a little bit too. So when you first got into it, obviously you said you didn't have a coach and you were kind of training, prepping on your own. How'd you know how you wanted to train, and probably more importantly, like how to prep? I find that would be the hardest part. Like, how did you know how to do that on your own before you got into having a professional coach?
Absolutely. So like in high school, I honestly would just train arms every day. I think I said I YouTubed an arm workout, and would just do that same arm workout like every day. And then eventually I would just get everything off YouTube. And then the diet part was interesting. I had no idea how to diet. I literally just starved myself and did a bunch of cardio. And I was lean for sure, but I definitely lost a lot of size. I had no idea what I was doing. And then I walked into a nutrition store one time we have here in San Antonio. And I knew a guy, I knew a lot of people competed that went there. They have like pictures of the wall, all their athletes. And I asked, like, can anyone help me out? It's my first show. I was probably 2 weeks out, and they all pointed to my coach, who's my coach now. Just crazy how that worked out. And he kind of helped me out like the last week. I say the last week because I didn't know how to peak week with like the water drop, sodium drop, and the tanning. I had no idea how, and like what to bring to the show, if I need to pack certain things or what they look for. And he kind of helped me out with all that. Gave me more food and took out more because I was just killing myself. I was just starving myself, which is not the way to do it at all. But it was definitely lean that show.
No kidding. So then at what point or how long had you been doing it on your own before you took on, this guy as your coach?
So I've been, so basically just from like age 15 to 19, I was doing it all by myself. And then I hit him up, and he helped me out the last 2 weeks of the show. Then I got with a different coach, probably like 6 months after my first show. So I was like from like age 20 to like 24, I was with this one coach. We kind of parted ways, and I hit up, then I got with another coach, and he gave me a meal plan, and it was honestly like it was like we were in off season, so I'm trying to grow and bulk, and he gave me a meal plan, and it was just there's no calories on it. I was starving, and I called my first coach, Joe. His name is Jojo. I called him up, and I was like, Jojo, let's work together. Can you check out this diet? Because this this other coach gave me is like, he's also a friend of mine too. And he was like, oh, that food, like he's not feeding you anything. And then pretty much Jojo took me on, and we've been working ever since.
Damn, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's good stuff. So now, looking ahead, we've covered the now and the past, and I want to talk a little bit about the future because I know that your goal someday is to compete in the Olympia. And so now, what do you think? What do you feel that your strengths are going forward, and what do you think you need to work on the most in order to get yourself up on stage with those guys?
Yeah. So I talked to the judges, or my coach actually talked to the judges after my last show and asked about what I should work on, and they said, this is exactly what they said. Something like, he looked so great, and then he turned around, and when we saw his back, we were very disappointed, and or like it was just like everything was so perfect, like they thought I had no flaws, and then they said I turned around, and they're like, oh, there it is. There's his weak. Like, he needs to work on that. And
Wow.
yeah, so
I would have never guessed that because I saw your back on Instagram. I was like, Jesus, that's legit.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's really, it could be I think my back pose, like my pose in general, needs work on. Like, I need to figure out how to like flex, get a good contraction from my hammies while I'm flexing on stage, and get just everything to show off my back double bicep. I think that pose definitely could use some. I think I need more like lat thickness, more fullness. My traps could come up a little bit more. And honestly, back is so important. Like, there's no hiding the back. Like, if you do a front double bicep, you're seeing your lats like pop out. You do abs and thigh, you're seeing your lats pop out. Back double bicep, of course, you see your back. So you're just like, that's like one of the most important poses. So I think if I can improve that, I'll definitely have a shot at my next show, whenever that may be.
Yeah.
I was
just going to ask if you.
It's such a science. No, I was just like, I'm just fascinated because it's such a science. Because I feel like you just look at an average kid. Like, I feel like most people watching this, you go watch an IFBB event, it's just like everyone on the stage is fucking jacked. Like, everyone deserves a gold medal. You know what I mean? So it's just such a science, and it everything is, like we were talking about earlier. You can't have any days off, and what you're eating and what you're putting in your body and how much work you're putting in. It's all so important. But yeah, Dylan, back to it. You can ask your question now. I just wanted to add that in. I just find it so fascinating. It's such an interesting industry.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. And I think, that goes with, being on the inside of that community. So if you're an outsider looking in, you can take any sport. Like, look at, if I were to go to a football game or basketball game, a sport that I don't play, I'd probably be like, oh yeah, all these guys are pretty good, but when you're on the team, they can pick up those little details, and I think it's the same with bodybuilding. Like you said, Colin, you look at them, they're like, holy shit, they're all ripped, they're all jacked, like they're massive. But when you're actually on stage with them and you're competing with them, you realize the small details that separate each other, and it just goes to show, like, it's the smallest things that separate everybody.
Right. Every little detail matters on stage,
Yeah.
For
so
sure.
Couple more things, and then we'll let you go. But I'm curious to hear your advice to anybody who's starting off as a bodybuilder, or even any sport in general, because the start's always the toughest part, and that's where people decide to continue to go on or decide to quit. And I feel like, coming from a wise person like you who's been in the sport for a while now and who has big aspirations within the sport, could definitely give some valid advice to our listeners going forward.
Right. I think the best advice I could give anyone starting out is, with anything, is do what you love. Like, I know a lot of people get into the sport and they'll see, like, do I have potential? Like, can I go far in this? Like, do whatever if you should want to do this sport or do bodybuilding because you love it. If you love training, then you'll go far. You'll and you believe in yourself, and you don't let anybody tell you, like, oh no, your genetics aren't good enough. You're not going to be good in this division. You're too small. Your structure's terrible, or anything like that. As long as you believe in yourself and you love it, you'll definitely go far. And that's with anything, not just bodybuilding. It could be any sport. As long as you put in the work, believe in yourself, you'll be successful. So I think that's the best advice I could give someone starting out. You got to be, like, I see some young guys that are getting into it, and they're not anything impressive, but they're delusionally high on themselves, which I think that can take them really far. Like, they train ridiculously hard. They believe they know what they're capable of early.
Yeah. It's like Muhammad Ali, where he says he knew he was the best before he was the best.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's the perfect quote for that.
And that goes to show, like, how important, something we've talked about on the podcast before is your mindset, and just how critical and how crucial your mindset is for whatever challenge you may be taking on. You want to be Mr. Olympia, your mindset. Like that's got to be the first thing. And that's something you need to get set straight in your priorities, is how to manage that and everything else like that. Just the mental side of it is huge.
Right. Absolutely.
And expanding on the mental side and the mindset too. Austin, you talked about that coach JoJo, and you were on his diet plan and you just felt like shit. And there you listen to your body. But I think a lot of bodybuilders would have probably just blindly followed the coach, and they're feeling shit, but they would have blindly followed him, and it would have led to negative consequences. But understanding your body and mentally having the wherewithal in knowing, okay, I feel like shit now. I need to change something and talk to my coach. Now that shows a lot of courage too. So props to you for that.
Absolutely. I think like doing it, having a lot of experience, you start to understand your body more and know and feel like, okay, I don't have any energy at all. It's definitely because of this food. So that's another thing I'd probably tell guys that are just starting out is listen to your body, take notes. Because what foods might work for someone else, like some big influencer that is posting it on their page, might not work for you. So I think just going into it with an open mind and try things out, and just listen to your body. Also, I think that's very important.
That's awesome. You guys got anything else?
Oh, I think that's all. I mean, I'm excited to follow along and keep a tab on you and see where you go. And like you say, you don't know when your next show is, but we'll be following along, and best of luck with that.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you for having me on, guys. Y'all are awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And hey, we're going to get a care package for you going soon. We got some new products coming in, so I'm going to send them your way once we get it all in.
Appreciate that. Thank you so much.
All right, man. Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely, guys. Y'all have a good one.
You too. Take care.
Thank you.